Alright all, and welcome back to another video and another Cheltenham Ante-Post update video. And it's actually the first Ante-Post update video of the year, but we're going to get into that in a little bit. I'm just going to start this with a very quick disclaimer and a little bit of a call for a bit of help if you could give it. I am participating in Movember this year. Obviously, it's a great cause, grow a mo, help a bro. I know it's a bit of a cheesy saying, but there's an awful lot of people out there affected by mental health, especially given the current lockdown situations in both in Ireland and in England. So as I say, I'm going to be growing a mo and probably a little goatee for November. The link will be at the top of the description, and just if you have any sort of donation, whether it's big, whether it's small, I wouldn't really ask for something like this unless I really believed in the cause, which I do. So if you could, it would be the top of the description. I'd really appreciate it. It will be there. I won't harp on about it for many other videos or anything like that, but it will be at the top of the description for all the videos in November. So if you could give it a help out, I'd really appreciate it. We're going in to the Cheltenham Festival Ante-Post update, and I'm going to be doing these videos sporadically throughout the season, probably when there's something to talk about and there are Ante-Post updates to give. I'm going to put a disclaimer out there that there won't be an Ante-Post selection in every update video, because last year I went very much over the top. I ended up, I think, putting up around 40 Ante-Post selections, which was just too much. I've put up 4 so far, so if you're unaware, do go out and check the previous video. It's around a month ago I put it up, 4 Ante-Post selections, and all 4 still have a live chance. All 4 have been somewhat backed as well, so they've gone down well. Sam Waugh was put up at 20 to 1, he's now 10 to 1 for the Champion Hurdle. Latest Exhibition was put up at 16s for the RSA, I think he's 14s or 12s now. Thyme was put up at 16s for the Stayers Hurdle. He's now 12s or 14s, even though we haven't seen him run. And Allaho was put up at 12 to 1 for the Ryanair. 12 to 1 is still available for you. We haven't seen him yet. But there was heaps of good racing at Down Royal over the weekend and over at Weatherby, some at Ascot as well. So I'm going to be just taking the key pointers from those races, see what the Ante-Post kind of update is, what price they've gone to, and then probably express a few views on them. So if you do enjoy this type of content or type of video, do let me know down below, because then I'll keep doing them and we can have probably 10 updates or 7 or 8 updates throughout the season leading up to Cheltenham. There is actually an Ante-Post selection in this one, so just so you know, keep hold until the end and I will let you know of that one. Anyway, no better way to start than with Envoy Len over in Down Royal. He's now best price 9 to 4 for the Marsh Novices Chase. Look, we didn't learn too much, to be honest. The form of the race isn't great. January Jets is a okay horse. He beat him out of sight. He beat the others out of sight. But the great thing was to see him jumping so well. And I think it was a hallmark of his novice hurdle campaign, how nimbly he jumped a hurdle for a big horse, and you always hoped that fences would see the best of him, but you never know until they run over them. And he was brilliant, He was foot perfect. He shortened into a few, was very nimble. He let go of a couple, was great, and then at the last he put in a superb leap when Jack Kennedy had given him that inch of rain. He looks to be fitting well. With a horse like that, you're just praying he stays sound, stays winning races. I see people getting a bit overexcited with, win sequences and stuff like that. Let's just take it a race at a time. Hopefully we'll see him in the Drinmore soon, and he can stamp his class back at Grade 1 quality in his novice chase campaign. But really impressive. But we didn't learn too much other than he's still an absolute beast. Ballydon was the interesting one, and Ballydon is, there's an awful lot of connotations between himself and Envoy Len because of what Jamie Codd said. I completely get that. He put in a very nice performance in the maiden hurdle. He's now best price 10 to 1 for the Supreme, 14 to 1 for the Ballymore. So there's been that swing towards the Supreme, because I think a few of the people, Gordon Elliott, Keith Donoghue, have all kind of said that he'd maybe be suited by a speedier thing. He's not necessarily a a staying chaser in the making at all. He might even be just a 2-mile hurdler down the line. The only reason that he won't run into Supreme is because of Fernie Hollow, but I can't see that being an issue. I think Cheveley Park are quite sporting in that way, and if they have to run the two against each other, they will. I think this horse is made for the Supreme. I thought his performance was good. I think the standard of the maiden hurdle was actually not bad. I quite like the horse in second, Colonel Mustard, for Lorna Fowler. I quite like Lorna Fowler's string of horses because I also like Politesse, Lady Heath. I think Colonel Mustard's quite a good horse, and he beat him out of sight, so I was quite impressed by the performance myself. I wouldn't be going in at that price, to be honest, considering we don't know too much about him still, and he is very much a hype horse, so there isn't much value in his prices, I don't think, so I'll be leaving them both to go at the moment, but he's a really exciting horse, and hopefully he can step up into graded class next time out. The two bumper winners on the two cards were Sir Gerhard on the Saturday and Chemical Energy on the Friday. Both equally impressive. Sir Gerhard's now 6-1 for the champion bumper. Chemical Energy is 16-1. Yeah, Chemical Energy did it quite well. Jamie Codd gave him a very canny ride to beat a good horse in On Eagle's Wings, who had decent form tied in with Fernie Hollow, Statler last year, who were two good Willie Mullins horses. Fernie Hollow obviously winning the champion bumper. But it'd be hard not to be very impressed by Sir Gerhard. Look, again, he's another one of these big talking horses. There's absolutely no value in the price of 6-1 for the champion bumper, I can assure you that much. But he was very impressive, and when you have the final half furlong, Jamie Codd constantly patting him on the neck, you know you're in serious horse territory potentially, and hopefully he might be the case. I think the idea is to keep him 2 bumpers this year, so I think he'll run in the champion bumper, but 6-1 at the start of November for the Cheltenham champion bumper is an absolute stinky price. Moving on to the WKD Hurdle, and this is probably one of the ones, those ones that are fairly stereotypical. I'm not telling you anything you don't know already, but Abacadabras and Aspar Tower. Jason the Militant ran very well for my horses to follow. He's not up to champion hurdle class, I don't think, but I think he'll run really respectably this year. I'm sure they were really happy with that performance, and hopefully he can progress on to bigger and better things. Abacadabras is now 10-1 for the champion hurdle, so he's drifted slightly, and Aspar Tower has been backed all the way into 16s across the road. Personally, and you guys know from last year, I'm no fan of Abacadabras at all. I wasn't a fan for him last year. I was spending the whole of the run-in in the Supreme kind of with my head in my hands because I told everyone to not back Abacadabras. But I just don't see the reasonings for these prices, to be honest. I think the prices are wrong. I'm really against these Irish juveniles from last year. Aspar Tower was good on the weekend. There's no getting away from that. But I don't think that form's going to stand up, to be honest. I don't think Aspar Tower finishing ahead of Abacadabras is going to stand up in the entirety of the season. You guys may disagree with that, and if you do so, please do let me know. But just looking through the last few years of the race, Bedrock beat Sam Crow in this race, Rashan beat Apple's Jade. Gordo has had big horses get turned over in this race at skimpy odds as well. I thought he ran, the thing that would always temper your enthusiasm with Abacadabras is he doesn't seem to find much off the bridle, but he travels into races so well. I think a slightly bigger field, a slightly stronger pace would suit him. And I just can't have Aspar Tower myself for the champion hurdle one bit. Now, would I have Abacadabras for the champion hurdle? I'm not sure, but I know full well that if the two of them rock up in the Matheson hurdle at Christmas at Leopardstown, I'd be backing Abacadabras ahead of Aspar Tower personally. I hope I stand by that. Now, to be fair, if both of them are running against San Juan, you guys know who I'm going to be backing in those three. But I would take Abacadabras ahead of Aspar Tower still. I think 10-1 for him in the champion hurdle is better value than 16s at Aspar Tower. But to sum things up, I'm still pretty happy with 20-1 on San Juan. I think he's fair, and I think he's probably the best Irish challenge at this stage. He hasn't actually proved at a grade 1 level. He's going to need to do so, but he's got all the potential, and I do love potential. Moving on to the Sam Crow Battle Over Doyen Easy Game race. Easy Game's not going to win anything come Cheltenham, not at grade 1 level. I don't think he ever will. He was well beaten the RSA last year. Sam Crow's 12-1 now for the Ryanair. Battle over Doyen around 16-1. He put in a very good performance, Battle over Doyen, and showed a little bit more speed than I think an awful lot of people thought he had. But that being said, I think it's an absolutely brutal price, 16-1 for the Ryanair. Look at the horse's form at Cheltenham. He went over to the Ballymore, didn't travel a yard when favourite for the race 2 years ago, was pulled up, and then was beaten out of sight, beaten almost a furlong back in fourth in the RSA last year. He doesn't seem to like the track at all, and I just think 16-1 is a poor enough price, really, when you think of the horses he's going to have to try and beat in terms of Min, maybe Surname, you know, Allaho, Aplutar. Like, we'll learn an awful lot more about Sam Crow and Battle over Doyen next time out. I'd suspect both of them will have to go and run in the John Durkan. That seems the most likely option. And they'll have to face Min in that. And Min potentially could put some of these in their place. Or maybe Min is a slightly spent force. I'm not sure. It's going to be very hard and it is going to be very hard to know what to think of Min this year. You know, is it going to be 1 year over the top, or will he still be as good as ever? Moving over to Wetherby, and obviously the big race, the Charlie Hall Chase, was won by Surname, and he put in a serious round of jumping. You gotta love this horse's jumping. He's an absolutely terrific leper. I know I haven't been, Surname's biggest fan over the years, but I do think, you know, it was hard not to be excited by his performance at Wetherby personally. I thought he did it superbly. That being said, let's come down to planet Earth there. He's now 16s for the Gold Cup. I just don't think he's not going to run in the Gold Cup, is he? Like, I just can't see it myself. Like, he's going to probably go and run maybe in the King George next time out, but he's going to have to prove against those horses. At the end of the day, he's beaten Vindication, who hasn't been proven at Grade 1 level himself, by a couple of lengths, and Vindication made an awful lot of jumping mistakes. So you have to just be slightly tempered with your enthusiasm at that. The rest of the race was made up of horses that are probably past it. I know I put up Definitely Red. He looks maybe a little bit of a spent force. Ballyoptic didn't run very well. Sam Spinner was pulled up very early. So the rest of the race kind of did fall apart, but bar the top two in the betting. I think 16s for the Gold Cup wouldn't be me at all. 12s for the Ryanair is more tempting, because I think there's more chance of him running in a Ryanair than there is a Gold Cup, but it wouldn't be for me personally. He's just a horse. He ran so well first time out last year. He's going to have to go and prove it. You know, he's going to have to go and do it again for me to really believe it. As much as it was an excellent watch and it was great to see, and I do love good horses putting in those sort of performances, I just can't be having it until I see further proof. Then moving on to Roxana, who won the Staying Hurdle. She's now around a 16 or 20-1 shot for the Stayers Hurdle, which is fair. I'd say they might go that route now this year with her. She's been found out in the Mares race last year, and if the same sort of mares turn up in the Mares Hurdle, she won't win it. So you might as well have a stab. For a person that's back to Thyme Hill, it was quite a satisfactory race, I thought, because it quite clearly showed off that the division is kind of on its knees. I think Next Destination, who was out for 2.5 years, was able to come second. Lisnagar Oscar, very disappointing, back in fourth. I'm sure Lisnagar Oscar will come on for that run, but it was still a little bit disappointing. And I must say, I just think Thyme Hill's the best of them over in England. I really hope that he runs in the long distance hurdle, I think is now the plan, at Newbury, and then maybe onto the long walk. Those sort of races. I wouldn't say I'm getting jumpy, but I'm pretty happy with the bet I've put up there, and I'm really hoping that actually him not running and seeing the rest of them has almost enhanced my feeling with that. So, you know, hopefully that will be the case. One that not many people maybe will talk about, but one I was so impressed with was Imperial Aura at Carlisle. He won the race that Lost in Translation won last year, the listed Memorial Chase, beating Windsor Avenue. It was a good field, though. Black Op was in it. Brewing Up a Storm was very disappointing in it, but it was a good field, and He won it really well, and he's such a slick jumper. He's now 20s. He's actually, I think, a regular 16s shot for the Ryanair, but he's 20s with William Hill, and that was very, very close to being a bet for me. If I hadn't already put up a horse in the race, it probably would have been a bet. But I also love Simply the Bets. He's going to run in the Paddy Power, in a few weeks' time. I love him. I love Imperial Aura. I love that form line, as I've said so many times on these videos. He was really good. Windsor Avenue, you guys know how much I love that horse. He ran a great race. He jumped superb. He's not a grade 1 horse, let's face facts, but hopefully he might pick up a graded race sometime this year. And moving on to the last race I'm going to cover, which ends up having a bet at the end of it. And it is the big Ladbrokes Champion Chase over in Down Royal, won by the Storyteller for Keith Donoghue, edging out Chris's Dream. The likes of Presenting Percy was in behind. 2A Permi was third, actually. Presenting Percy fourth, Delta Work fifth. There was a few other horses in there, a few good horses that were quite well beaten. It was great for the Storyteller. He's a great horse. He's been a very admirable sort. I put him up on the weekend, so I was ecstatic with it, really. He's obviously not going to go and win a Gold Cup, though, is he? He is short of that mark. This race, a little bit like the WKD Hurdle, has been won in the past by horses that just aren't up to it long term. They're the freshest, they're the best going to there, but in the end a horse comes out of the pack. Chris's Dream ran actually an awful lot better than I thought he would, especially on ground that wouldn't suit him, but again he's another horse that seems to be best fresh, so it'll be interesting to see how he's campaigned. Chris's Dream is now a regular 33s price for the Gold Cup. He's not a horse that I'd ever think could win a Gold Cup, to be fair. I don't think he has the class for it. And one that I wasn't sure, because I was asked last week whether I thought this horse could win a Gold Cup, and I don't think, I said at the time I don't think he could, but I'm going to put him up because I think the price is absolutely ridiculous, and in years where there really isn't much value that goes around in Ante-Post markets, like I've gone through 7-8 horses there and there's very little value to be had, this I think is value, because if you're the type that cashes out or lays a bit back on the exchanges or something, I just can't see this horse lasting at this price. And it is Delta Work, last year's Gold Cup fifth, that is going to be my fifth Ante-Post selection for Cheltenham 2021 at 40-1 for the Gold Cup on Paddy Power, readily available on Paddy Power at 40-1. Like, he's not a horse that I was doing my research for this video, and I thought, well, Delta Work, he'll be a 20-1 shot. I wouldn't put him up at 20-1. But he's 40-1, and I think it's an absolute insult to the horse. I thought they'd be absolutely delighted with his run at Down Royal. I remember they were interviewing Jack Kennedy the day before, and they asked Jack, will you be disappointed if we get beat tomorrow on Delta Work? And he went, no, win, lose or draw, we're just happy to get him back started, and there'll be bigger targets down the line. I think this horse will run in a Gold Cup again. As I say, he probably is vulnerable winning the Gold Cup, and more so than anything, I don't think it's from a lack of ability. I think it's just his jumping seems to be just a little bit skew-whiff at Cheltenham. He probably should have won the RSA a few years ago, made a few niggling mistakes at crucial times, came third, and made a few niggling mistakes last year and finished fifth in the Gold Cup. But it's just an insult given some of the horses out in front of him in the betting. As I said to you earlier, Surname is 16-1 for the Gold Cup. Not going to run in the Gold Cup more than likely. Delta Work is 40-1. I think he's got an outstanding chance of winning the Lexus, or whatever it's called now, the Savills Chase, I think, at Leopardstown, and the Irish Gold Cup at Leopardstown. If he wins that double, or goes very close to winning that double again, what price is he then? He's 10-1 or something for the Gold Cup. Then if you want to lay back some of that out, or cash out a bit of that bet, fair enough, I would hold my hands up. It's something that might interest me as well. But 40-1, I can't see why. I don't know whether I've missed something as he picked up an injury. It kind of almost feels that way. It feels like it's just wrong. Somebody's got it wrong. But I've backed it at 40-1 on Paddy Power. I think it's a smashing price. Whether you want to back it on the nod or back each way. I know some people don't like backing each way Ante-Post, I understand that. But that will be my 5th Ante-Post bet for the Cheltenham Festival, because I just see this price absolutely plummeting, and I just don't understand it personally. I can't see him staying at 40 to 1, because I think he'll win at least one of the 2 Leopardstown Grade 1s, and if he does that, he automatically becomes a 20s shot or 16s shot. So that's my piece on the matter, I suppose. I really hope you guys did enjoy this video. It is a slightly new style. There won't be kind of quite as many tips this year for Cheltenham as there was last year, but there will be these types of update videos. So whether you enjoy them or not, you might let me know down below. And of course, as I was saying right at the start of the video, any sort of support for the Movember page would be really appreciated. You'll see over the next few weeks this will be getting pretty dirty in time, I suspect. So any sort of support would be really appreciated. If you liked the video, please do give it a like and subscribe to the channel down below. We're inching closer to 2,000 subscribers, which is absolutely superb. Can't thank all of you enough for your support. And of course, if you have any Cheltenham fancies, what do you think of Delta work at 40 to 1? Do let me know in the comments down below, and we can have a good chat about it. And until next time, where we'll be covering some weekends racing, probably this week or maybe next week, going into the Cheltenham Open meeting. Stay safe, stay well, land a few bets, and I'll see you guys soon. Cheers.